Or I guess who did not?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably be easier. I don't even know if I can name all the participants. So LeBron, Marcus, and Gabe and Adou are all sort of under either return to play protocols or modified protocols.
Starting with LeBron, kind of what do you expect out of him at the start of camp? Will he be able to participate tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit longer of a ramp up leading into opening night for him. Just obviously in year 23, uncharted territory here. So I felt, and in talking with performance and in talking with Mike and LeBron, like he probably did too much last year in camp, which was great for me as a first-year head coach to get buy-in from him. But it'll be a slower process with him leading into the first game. He's obviously got 22 years so far of wear and tear on the body, and he's dealing with a little bit of nerve irritation in the glute. So we're playing the long game with LeBron. Gabe, he's just modified. He should be good to go live by the end of the week, and we expect him to be able to play Friday. And that's just, again, the management of his knee that we did last year as well. Marcus just dealing with a little bit of Achilles tendinopathy. He's been in a slow ramp up. He was a modified participant, nothing live today. We expect him to be fine by next week. And then Adou, I think, gave you guys all the information himself yesterday.
Coach, from the players who did participate, who stood out to you?
Luka was pretty good. I think a lot of times in camp, right, you're doing a lot more drills and you're doing games with constraints. We did 2 5-minute scrimmages at the end. So call it, 45% of the time was drills, 55% of the time was live, but a lot of the live play was with constraints. So I think the group really stood out, and it was just our energy, our physicality. We're asking these guys to have championship communication. I thought our talk was really good today, and we pushed ourselves. Like from a conditioning standpoint, we got a lot out of today.
Now, JJ, with year 2, is there not as much trying to instill what the expectations are, or there's a lot of new players, so there is still some of that?
No, there's always that, and it's different year to year. And I would say this, you use the word expectations, and I think there's the internal expectations of what's the standards are and what's required every day versus the external expectations, which kind of really don't matter because we kind of have to set that for ourselves, which that's a process to build. You don't come in day one and say, okay, this is our standard, these are our expectations, and then it's boom, perfect. It takes a little bit of time, and we, like we were last year, and like we'll continue to be all year, like we'll be very clear with what the expectations are.
One thing all the players did say that they really said what you said in terms of championship shape and championship communication. That is the expectation, though. Is that fair to say? This is.
Yeah, we have 3 priorities this year and 3 priorities only, and that's championship habits, championship communication, and championship shape. And there's no shortcuts to this. There's no shortcuts to success. There's no shortcuts to having a good season, great season, whatever. It's the league is too good. There's too much talent out there. There's too much balance. You have to be committed on a daily basis to those things.
Two kind of LeBron-related questions too. One of the things Luka has said a lot is sort of an excitement about getting into camp so that himself, LeBron, and Austin can kind of like problem solve and figure this stuff out. Can that still occur if he's not playing live as much? Are there ways, just like sort of like through osmosis, where that can happen? It's a good word, right?
Yeah, they'll. A couple of the guys know this. There's a fun exercise next week. There's a fun exercise next week.
Like a team building exercise of sorts.
We'll see.
Or like jumping jacks.
No. I don't mean physical exercise. Yes. To answer your question, yes, there is.
Okay. And then being around him last year and seeing, the way he hit that first week of the season, and then kind of, he had that break around the in-season tournament, break, recovery, whatever you want to call it. way he was able to come back and push. Did that change the way that you wanted to work with Mike and Dr. Sims in some ways about like how to best sort of plan out,
Yeah,
a season?
You'll hear me use this a lot. It is uncharted territory. I don't think there's a blueprint for someone who's had this amount of mileage and this many minutes and been asked to do so many things on both ends of the court. And look, we asked a lot of them last year. We asked a lot of them to start the year in camp. So it's just working as a partnership to try to figure out what's best.
Was he receptive to? In the past, I know there have been times like
Yeah.
he's gonna have a minutes restriction, and then 2 games into it, it's like he's running through that minutes restriction. Like,
yeah.
He was on board with this.
Well, I've never put a minutes restriction on him. He's on board. Yeah, we're all on the same page.
As a follow-up on Adou, what has he been able to do between summer league and now?
Yeah, he's had a ramp up from running, cutting, jumping, then running, cutting, jumping versus coaches, 3-on-3 versus coaches, 3-on-3 versus players to live play prior to this week. And again, I think we've just got to manage him coming off of a knee surgery. And to be quite frank with you, he was not our player when he had his surgery. And so we did not have control over what he did for 3 months after the surgery. And so it's really just about, to use the LeBron phrase again, it's really about playing the long game with him. We look at this year for him as a developmental year. And there's no reason for us to sort of push his body and create any sort of long-term harm. But his knee is in a really good spot. We just want to be really careful with it.
Does it matter if LeBron plays in the preseason? Is that important that he plays at a game at some point in the preseason?
It would be nice. It would be nice for sure. We would love to have that happen. And if it doesn't, we'll just make it work.
You won't cancel the season.
No, we'll still play 82 games.
Has there been any discussion about his availability potentially on opening night, or is that?
That's the goal. Yeah.
You mentioned your Spectrum interview yesterday about wanting to get, not just thoroughheads, but wanting to get into the offense earlier. I think 18, 19 seconds on the clock. Championship shape has been something that you harped on a lot this offseason. How much did those tie in together after you looked at last season in order to get to why the early offense actions? We have to be in a certain.
I really believe that all three of our priorities tie in together. And in terms of the early offense, you certainly have to be in shape. There has to be communication. Our habits, that part of that is execution, and I think it's execution of spacing, it's execution of knowing what we're trying to get on a possession, and you have to be in shape to sort of recognize all those things in real time. So it's all tied together. And I thought with our script, and we did a modified 3-on-3 game, I thought the emphasis was there. The guys did a really good job. They understood what we were trying to accomplish. They understood the purpose of everything we were doing today in script and in 3-on-3. And then that translated to 5-on-5.
Jersey, what's going to determine your starting lineup? And could that be in flex all season long as we go through?
Again, I'm not even concerned about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even concerned about it.
JJ, how does obsession play into your 3 priorities? I saw LeBron was wearing a shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rob has a word of the season, a word of training camp every year. Last year was details. This year is obsession. Obviously, you saw the shirt. You know that the 1-8 was part of that, which that's what we're all after. We're all after that 18th banner. I think understanding the priorities of the job and being obsessed with those and committed to those on a daily basis, that's what determines great players. That's what determines great teams. Anything else? All right, thanks, guys.